Like it's one of those. It's typical National Lampoon, wacky adventures, raunchy as hell. It's raunchy. It's hilariously stupid. Full frontal of guys. It's hilarious and stupid, and it's honestly a fun movie. Apparently, there's a tragic story surrounding it. And it was not all fun and games. So I saw this, I was like, okay, let's take a look at this. I am intrigued. So let's take a look.
Eurotrip's one of the funniest comedies of the 2000s, but it also has a tragic and frustrating story surrounding it. The film ruined several careers. A song from the film allegedly got stolen, and oddly, the studio seemed to intentionally cause all this chaos. The deeper you look into it, the harder it is to tell whether this movie just failed or whether it was set up to fail. Because Eurotrip had literally everything you needed to make the next massive teen comedy: the right era, the right genre wave, recognizable faces, major studio backing, and one of the most highly sought after screenplays of all time. Which is exactly why what happened next makes zero sense. When Eurotrip came out in 2004, raunchy teen comedies were still one of the safest bets in Hollywood. And it was set up perfectly to be the next...
No, Stifler was... He went, when you saw Stifler there, he was showing other teen comedies in the same genre. So he was showing American Pie because Eurotrip was in the same vein as American Pie. And so it's just a comparison of when this came out, there were other raunchy teen comedies, which were a big hit at the time.
Comedies were still one of the safest bets in Hollywood, and it was set up perfectly to be the next link in this chain. American Pie had been released just 5 years earlier, shocking the world with a $235.5 million box office performance off of its modest $11 million budget. The studio got the message and it jumped on 2 sequels, both grossing well over $200 million, with the third installment, American Wedding, coming out just 6 months prior to Eurotrip. And then of course there was the ever-popular Road Trip, which came out a few years prior from DreamWorks, the same studio who made Eurotrip, and made a statement with nearly $120 million at the box office off of just a $16 million budget. So from DreamWorks' perspective, the blueprint was sitting right in front of them. And as much as I love Road Trip, I just don't think it's in the same league as Eurotrip. Eurotrip was really set up...
Have to agree. I've seen both. Road Trip was funny enough. It was not as good as Eurotrip. Not by any stretch. You had the star power of Sean William Scott and DJ Qualls. They, you had their comedic chops. They did well with what they had, but it was not as good as Eurotrip. Eurotrip, the comedy just worked better. It literally just worked better. They had cool different locales. The dynamic of the characters. Interacting with the different locales, different people, the different cultures in a comedic way. Yeah, it's flat out. It was better. The movie I watched and it was funny. It was underrated. The new guy was funny. Yeah, DJ Qualls. DJ Qualls is so underappreciated in the new guy, along with Eddie. What's his last name? Oh fuck! What's his last name? Oh shit, I cannot remember his last name. He was the guy that taught DJ Qualls' character about being Eddie Griffin. Thank you, Garrett. Yes, Eddie Griffin. Yeah, DJ Qualls, Eddie Griffin. They were great in it. Really underappreciated. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll watch Eurotrip and the new guy for movie night this. Oh wait, no, it's Rygast from this weekend. Maybe we'll watch Eurotrip and the new guy for next week's movie night.
The next installment in what was the American Pie
I've seen waiting.
And audiences were ready for it. The movie had real star power by way of one of its leads in Michelle Trachtenberg.
How are you, darling?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you. So in this new movie that opens on Friday, you need to explain what that means and how you ended up doing it.
R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg. God, she passed away at such a young age. It is so tragic.
Yeah.
Well, the movie is called Eurotrip, and it's very, very funny. It's from the people that brought you Old School and Road Trip. There's a whole bunch of, naked guys, naked girls. It's very funny.
She was well known for her roles in kids' movies and television shows, including the title role in Harriet the Spy, a lead role in Inspector Gadget, the host of the television show Truth or Scare, and a role in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It all
That's
really
what
worked
made her. That role right there, playing Dawn, that's what made her a star when she did Buffy. Oh yeah, we lost Michelle Trachtenberg a few years ago. It was if memory serves, it was a complication because I think her liver failed and she had to get a liver transplant, and there were complications resulting afterwards from that, and unfortunately she did pass away.
It all really worked out kind of perfect, though. I mean, she came onto the scene in the mid-90s, so by the time Eurotrip came out, a lot of the audience that grew up watching her was now old enough to buy a ticket to an R-rated comedy. It was no doubt a culture shock, though, to see her in such a mature role.
And she was gorgeous in this.
Departure for you, since, you're 18 years old now and you're in Eurotrip.
Yeah.
Is this a new kind of role you're playing?
It is. I was on Buffy for 3 years, and I absolutely love the show, but I'm 18 now.
But there was an even more bankable star. Someone who's grossed over $5 billion at the box office,
Yeah.
who came in and made one of the most iconic cameos of all time.
Yep.
Already known for his lead roles in Saving Private Ryan,
I love that
Good Will
song.
Hunting, and
Yes,
The Bourne
it's Matt
Identity,
Damon.
Eurotrip
I fucking
landed
love
Matt
that
Damon.
song.
And I'm pretty sure we can all agree, Eurotrip was better than all of his prior works combined. But the story of how they actually got Matt to do the movie is pretty nuts. Eurotrip was shot almost entirely in Prague, and they were looking for an actor who they didn't have to fly out. It turned out Matt was actually shooting Brothers Grimm down the road, had a day off, and actually a personal connection to Eurotrip, having gone to college with the writers and co-directors.
The movie, my friends directed a movie called Eurotrip, and I sang this song. It was very funny. It was called Scotty Doesn't Know. And one of my roommates from college actually wrote the song and sang it, and I lip-synced.
He wore a wig for the Brothers Grimm, so he was actually able to shave his head for Eurotrip, and comedy movie history was made. He performed the infamous Scotty Doesn't Know, which I shamelessly will admit is on my workout playlist. But this song has actually led to its own world of controversy, because one of the biggest pop stars at the time, Miley Cyrus, or better known as Hannah Montana, was accused of stealing the song. I feel like I'm not supposed to definitively say what my opinion is, so I'm gonna share a demo.
Hold up. Miley Cyrus has been rocked by another scandals 2 weeks before the furore surrounding her provocative Vanity Fair photographs. Now he's ripping off someone else's song. So she ripped off Scotty Doesn't Know? That bitch! Oh, you bitch! How dare you rip off Scotty Doesn't Know? Allegedly.
Miley Cyrus, or better known as Hannah Montana, was accused of stealing the song. I feel like I'm not supposed to definitively say what my opinion is, so I'm gonna share a demo of both songs and let you decide. Here's a demo of Scotty Doesn't Know. And here's Miley's Rockstar. Yeah.
Oh, come the fuck on. Oh, come the fuck on. Yeah, it's the same fucking song. And you know what I bet? Oh my god, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the thing with Vanilla Ice. And you know what I bet the excuse was? They probably used the same thing, the same excuse that Vanilla Ice did when he stole pressure, Under Pressure. Is he basically said like the bass line was like one note different. Yeah, they changed like one note. Like Under Pressure was dun 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 dun. And then I think Vanilla Ice said is like his bass line went dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. It's like they changed like one note in the fucking bass line, and he won a case. No, I saw the video for it where like it was I can't remember if it was by itself or it was like part of a compilation of stolen songs, and that was in there where they told where like Vanilla Ice like they did the interview and he did that in that video where he verbally demonstrated the differences in the bass line between the two of them, and like that's how he won the case. Is like there was like one note change. It was they either removed one note or they added one note at a higher pitch, and that was how they were able to win the case that they didn't technically steal Pressure by Queen. Yeah.
But Rockstar peaked at 81 in the Billboard Hot 100, and Scotty Doesn't Know made it to 78. So I guess Lestra got the last laugh. And all this comes before we get to the clearest sign that DreamWorks expected Eurotrip to be a hit, because the film also had one more advantage that should have led to a box office explosion. The movie was made by the guys behind.
By the way, who is? Hang on.
One more advantage that should have.
Who is this? Hang on. I need to look. Where's my phone? Hang on a second. I need to look this. I'll just do it on the computer. I need to look this guy up because he looks fucking familiar. The guy on the left there, I swear to God, he looks familiar. And I can't place him. Although I will say, not to insult the actor or anything, chat, tell me if the guy on the left doesn't look like a very young Ben Shapiro. Like, barely younger Ben Shapiro. I hate to say it, he kind of does. Yes, I'm on IMDb right now. But the guy, he does kind of look like Ben Shapiro. I think this is, yeah, Travis Wester. What do I know him from? Let's see. Okay, he was on NCIS. He was in Castle, Supernatural, House of Lies, Code Black, Justified, Bones. Like bit parts. I swear to God, I thought I saw him as a lead in something. And he was in Spider Games. Damn, I thought I recognized him from something else, but I don't know. No. But damn. Yeah, like he looks so fucking familiar to me. Other than looking like Ben Shapiro.
Led to a box office explosion. The movie was made by the guys behind the most successful sitcom of all time. After taking over the television world,
it was
with
like
Seinfeld,
one role in one shot,
Berg,
one
David
episode.
Mandel, and Jeff Schaefer set out to take over the film world and wrote Eurotrip, and eventually co-directed it.
You may notice right now that there's three of us, but there's only one name on the director that gets the director credit. That's because the Directors Guild of America wouldn't let the three of us have a three-man director credit.
Yeah, they're not fans of the three-man directing team.
And DreamWorks didn't treat this like some throwaway comedy script either. According to Yahoo, the script sold for $3.9 million, making it the 7th most expensive screenplay sale of all time. For comparison's sake, American Pie's screenplay sold for $650,000. Or in other words, Eurotrip's screenplay sold for 6 times more than the screenplay of one of the biggest teen comedy hits of all time. Simply put, DreamWorks wasn't just hoping the movie would do well, they were betting big that it would become the next American Pie, and I can personally see why it sold for so much. I've read a ton of comedy movie screenplays from this era, and I can confidently say that Eurotrip is the funniest I've ever read. So by the time cameras started rolling, Eurotrip looked like one of the safest comedy bets imaginable, which is exactly why what happened at the box office feels so insane in hindsight. But here's where it gets even more frustrating. Eurotrip didn't just have potential on paper, it actually delivered. I watched Eurotrip for the first time 6 years ago when I first fell in love with comedy movies and was on a crazy binge. I'd cycle through most of the highly successful teen comedies and was looking for more low-key ones. And when you're doing that, you come across a ton that are fun, but are also borderline soft porn. Not exactly good movies, if you know what I mean. But Eurotrip was none of that, and quite possibly the most pleasant surprise I've ever had watching a movie. Like, it's genuinely funnier than several classics, including American Pie and Superbad. It's got literally everything you could ever ask for in a teen comedy.
I forgot, yeah, it's got fucking Vinnie Jones in it as a soccer hooligan. The absolute perfect fucking role for Vinnie. As an absolutely insane soccer hooligan who's like a hero in this. It was incredible.
From the outrageous characters.
If you're Manchester United supporters, sing the Manchester United song.
I'm not much of a singer.
My baby takes the morning train. He works from 9 to 5, and then the best freaking team in all the land. Woohoo! Pretty dang good, lads!
To the killer
Hey,
one
Benny.
I'm in love with my pen pal. I'm in love with Mike.
I was actually expecting this. I'm flattered you picked me to come out to first. And don't worry about telling your folks, because I think they already know.
No, you idiot. Mike is a girl.
He's the girl, and you're the girl, and sometimes you're both the girl.
To some of the most memorable set pieces of all time.
Oh, brother, please don't hurt me.
My God, that's right. Dietrich, oh, what's his last name? Dietrich Badger? I think his name is? Yeah, I forgot he was in this as a fucking thief, as a mugger. I forgot about that. This is the guy, he came to fame on the Drew Carey show, and he voiced Batman for what was it? Batman Caped Crusader, the kind of campy Batman animated series that came out a couple of years ago. He was the voice for Batman.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's good. Give me cash. You got cash? Oh, take it all, you dirty girl.
Jethro.
Oh, I love you.
No, not Harley Quinn. Not Harley Quinn. It came out before Harley Quinn. Brave the Bold. Thank you. Yes, that was the soft over. Yeah, he was the voice of Batman in the animated series Batman: The Brave and the Bold that came out like a couple years before the Harley Quinn abomination came out.
Dirty girl. What? Oh, I love you. Buongiorno. You know, there are a lot of other empty compartments. Ah, see.
Yeah.
Scusi.
This fucking guy.
What the hell are you doing? Oh, mi scusi. Oh, no.
Yeah. He had to cut sound for that.
That alone should be enough to add it to your watch list. And if you have, it should serve as a reminder of just how funny this movie actually is. When I think of all of the great comedies,
Was he?
Eurotrip
Okay, he
is
was
number
also
one on my list
Batman
of
and Harley
comedies
Quinn?
that I can always come back to no matter what, turn my brain off, and just laugh and have a good time. And that's what makes what happened next so insane. This wasn't just some bad movie that got rejected. It was actually a really great comedy, yet somehow audiences barely showed up. To say Eurotrip had a poor performance at the box office would be a massive understatement, because it didn't just flop, it had one of the most devastating box office runs of any comedy movie in the 2000s. And the worst part is how preventable all of this was. Eurotrip cost $25 million.
I don't think they really advertised it.
Opened on February 20th, 2004 to just $6.7 million, and finished its entire theatrical run with just $22.6 million. Which I know
I think that they whacked it. I think they whacked the advertising
for
for
a
it.
$25 million budget might just sound like a minor shortcoming, but when you take into
No,
account
that's
that
a
movie
lot.
theaters keep roughly 50% of all box office
Yeah.
revenues, the story gets a lot more grim. DreamWorks only got to take home just over $11 million, or in other words,
That's
less
bad.
than half of its budget. Not great.
But you know what? I do believe that it has since gone on to basically get a cult following once it released onto like DVD. I absolutely think that it burst a cult following once it hit home video, and that like breathed new life into it, I feel.
For a movie that was riding one of the hottest trends in Hollywood, that's not just bad, it's catastrophic. So how could this have even happened? I mean, we established it wasn't completely devoid of star power. It had an all-star
right.
writing team.
You're right. Cult classics absolutely are better than most box office hits. And that's the crazy thing. It is some of the most successful movies of all time are cult classics, not box office smashes. Now, granted, I understand why, the movie industry, like Princess Bride bombed in theaters. This one did. There was what was that? I almost read Dark City. Dark City bombed in theaters, I'm pretty sure. Like there's a lot of movies that did not do well in theaters, But when they get released on video or DVD or streaming, they absolutely become cult classic hits that become tremendously beloved. What was it? I'm pretty sure It's a Wonderful. I don't think The Crow bombed. I think The Crow actually did pretty well. It just became even more of a cult classic once it released on home video. But I do believe The Crow did well in theaters because there was a lot of a lot of attention put to it because of Brandon Lee's death during the filming of it. Yeah, Highlander was another one. I'm reasonably sure that It's a Wonderful Life actually bombed when it released in theaters, and it only became so popular once it released onto like home film. And that's when it became a cult classic Christmas movie. In the theaters, as I recall, it did not do well. And at the same time, like to a degree, like I understand why studios might make the decision where City of Angels. I did not like City of Angels. No, I did not like it. Did not like it one bit, especially the ending. Hated the way they ended it. Like for me, the original Brandon Lee Crow movie is the only good one. Every single Crow movie that came out afterwards, do not like at all. Each one got worse and worse and worse. Does Clerks count? It could. There's like honestly, there is way too many to list off, but like cult classics, by and large, outnumber blockbusters, and. Like, I can understand why studios might make decisions where, like, where if it doesn't do well in the box office, they basically don't go forward with future projects, and like because they cannot count on video and DVD sales, because video and DVD sales and even streaming sales after a video has been moved to video and DVD is that they're getting pennies on the dollar from video, DVD, streaming compared to what they would get from the box office, which is 50% of the take from the box office. So while cult classics are fantastic for us, the movie appreciator and the movie goers, then but with Hollywood, they're making literally all of their money on sales at the theater. So if they have a movie that bombs in the theater but goes like gangbusters once it goes to home release and becomes a cult classic, well, Hollywood doesn't care because they're not making any money off of the home release. They're only making money off it when it goes in the theater. So the theater is the do or die moment for a movie to be considered successful, because that's where they get all the money. That's where they make the decision. Okay, are we going to continue with this? Are we going to do sequels to it? Are we going to continue to hire this actor regularly? Are we going to continue to hire these directors regularly? We're going to continue to hire these producers regularly. And if it doesn't, while we, like many of us, know Eurotrip and we love the movie and it is a cult classic, it doesn't earn Hollywood money. And say what you will about the Hollywood industry, it is at its core a business. If you're not making enough money to sustain the business, you're not going to keep, contrary to what we've been seeing as of late. Okay, I fully appreciate this is contrary to what Hollywood has been putting out as of late. The fact is, Hollywood, particularly studios like Disney, have more money than God, and they can easily afford to keep literally pissing money away on bullshit. But back in the day, they couldn't afford to do it. And in the end, it is a business, and if what they're doing is not making them money, back then they could not afford to keep pissing money away over and over and over again. And it became Ebert and Roper. It started as Siskel and Ebert, and then Gene Siskel passed away, and so Roper came in and filled in Gene Siskel's spot, and it became Ebert and Roper. Originally, it was Siskel and Ebert.
Happened. I mean, we established it wasn't completely devoid of star power. It had an all-star writing team, and it ended up being genuinely hilarious. For the longest time, I assumed it was because Scott McElwes, Travis Wester, and Jacob Pitts were complete no-names. I mean, it was literally the first lead role ever for Travis and Jacob, and it was the first studio film ever for Scott, who went straight from
Wow.
graduation at UCLA to the set of Eurotrip. But that didn't seem to tell the full story, as American Pie blew up 5 years prior with even less star power. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized that there were two other factors that seemed to explain almost everything and make all of this feel just so avoidable. For one,
My suspicion is he's got to remember American Wedding came out around the time that this movie came out, and I think American Wedding was signaling that this genre was becoming tired. That's my feeling. By the time American Wedding came out, they already had multiple sequels in the American Pie franchise. It was starting to get tired. And yeah, I'd say it might have been like 2010, 2009, somewhere in that neighborhood. And the genre was becoming tiresome. It was a combination factor. That they probably didn't advertise it very much, and the raunchy teen comedy was kind of getting, the raunchy teen comedy was played out. It was at the tail end of its popularity. And people just kind of really weren't interested. I'm pretty sure, let's see, around 2010 is about when I think the superhero genre was taking off. When did they start, when did the MCU kind of start kicking in? And X-Men. When did that 2008? Yeah. So, yeah, Iron Man 2008. So there you go. There's my point exactly. Raunchy teen comedies was dying out, and the superhero movies were kicking in. So it was unfortunate. Well, Hulk was first, but it kicked off with Iron Man. Iron Man and Batman Begins is what kicked off the superhero genre. And unfortunately, I think it was bad timing. It was a good script. It was a good script, good cast, good movie overall. But unfortunately, it was a victim of they were a bit too late into the game. And by the time it came out, audiences, even the teens that loved the raunchy teen dramas, it was played out. They were kind of done with it. The superhero movies were exploding onto, the superhero movies were exploding onto the scene, and all the focus was on them and not the raunchy teen comedies, and it just flopped. Was Eurotrip 2004? Was it? Hang on. Was it 2004? Oh yeah, you're right, it was 2004. But, hang on. Yeah, and Batman Begins was 2005. Iron Man 2008. So yeah, that we were at the transitional point. We were at the transitional point. Spider-Man 2 was 2004. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Spider-Man had come out. Spider-Man 2 had just come out the same year as Eurotrip. So yeah, it's like when was Blade? Blade was earlier. No, Blade Trinity came out 2004. So basically you had the superhero movies that were gaining in popularity at the time. No, Blade Trinity, I said. Not the first Blade Trinity. That came out in 2004. So, you had all of these superhero movies that were coming out at the time. X-Men 3 was probably around there somewhere. And the raunchy teen comedy was losing its popularity because now superhero movies were now more adult nature. People were loving it, and those were on the rise. And it was literally, it just happened to release at the tail end when people were moving away from these kinds of movies and changing over to the superhero franchises. That's a big part of it, along with probably a distinct lack of advertising.
For one, Eurotrip was released in February.
And I don't care if he's
commonly
going to address
referred
the nation.
to as
Don't
one
give
of
a
the
fuck.
2 major dump months. And dump months are months in which audiences are notoriously smaller at the movie theater. This is largely due to the fact that they come at the dog days of winter where temperatures are frigid. The roads often aren't safe to drive on. Parents are reacclimated to kids going back to school. Oh, and movies are also competing with the NFL playoffs, including the Super Bowl, which is the biggest night of the year. You probably notice this if you go to the movies frequently. Those January and February releases tend to be absolutely brutal. Like, I often find myself asking, how did this movie even get greenlit? So right away, Eurotrip was being asked to survive in one of the worst possible release windows. And that alone would be frustrating, but what the studio did next makes the story absolutely infuriating. Just for comparison, let's look at some of the biggest teen comedies from this era, like American Pie, Road Trip, and Superbad. Do you notice how all of these were either spring or summer releases? But this was just one piece of the puzzle, because...
That's true. You know what? He's absolutely right about that. When you think of teen comedies, you don't think of winter. Just about every teen comedy of note did have a spring or summer release date. Yeah, spring break, summer break. Yeah, absolutely right. This was horrible. This was a horrible thing to release in February for a teen comedy because there's no breaks. People, the teenagers not going to the movies in February.
Even if releasing in February was an uphill battle, it wasn't insurmountable. I mean, Deadpool, 50 Shades of Grey, and even Black Panther were released in February.
Tay, I have a counterpoint to that. Number one, Deadpool released in February, but when Deadpool released, hang on.
I mean,
Note the date. One of the things that the first Deadpool movie capitalized on was that it was releasing for Valentine's Day. They leaned into that. Yeah, it was the first, well, no, it was not the first R-rated superhero movie. That's incorrect. Blade was R-rated. But I'm pretty sure Blade was R-rated. So it was not the first R-rated superhero movie. But don't forget, Deadpool had a lot of build-up to it. Remember the leaked test footage? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds leaking the test footage got a lot of attention to it. And no, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about Trump addressing the nation. We're on this. I literally don't give a shit what he says. You've got they've leaned into the release date, the advertisement. They did a massive advertising campaign for this. Let's not forget, like Ryan Reynolds was like having like emojis on billboards for Deadpool. He was doing like the cancer awareness type of shit for it, and there was a huge amount of advertisement for it that. God bless Ryan Reynolds. He knew how to advertise this movie because he was passionate about this movie. And it was like and we were getting like Deadpool for the first time because we got a taste of it in X-Men Origins. We got a taste of what Ryan Reynolds could do with Deadpool. And now he was just going like the gloves were off. He was off the chain and doing whatever he wanted to with it. We saw the previews. We're like, okay, this is fantastic. They leaned into the February 12th date by saying, for Valentine's Day, go see Deadpool. And so they leaned into it, and that made it successful. And in terms of 50 Shades of Grey, that one, it was trailing off. It was managing to trail off the heels of books. The stupid ass fucking wine moms who are like, oh, I'm reading something spicy, even though I have no idea what the fuck this is all about, and I don't actually realize that I'm looking at a serial killer who doesn't actually kill anybody, but he's got the mentality of a serial killer and a psychopath that is abusing a poor young girl, and if this was and if he was a blue collar worker instead of rich and famous, this would actually be an episode of Criminal Minds. Yeah, the date on that one didn't matter. And again, 50 Shades capitalized on the Valentine's Day thing. They used Valentine's Day to promote 50 Shades of Grey, and they did that for all three movies. They released all three of the movies on Valentine's Day because they capitalized on it for take your loved one to go see a extremely watered down and completely incorrect sexy BDSM movie and get your partner all hot and bothered. So after you watch the movie, you'll go home and maybe your partner will say, "Oh, baby, tie me to the bed with your neckties and fuck me." But again, they were using that. They leaned into the Valentine's Day. Black Panther, it's fucking Black Panther. It's, that one is, it was Black Panther. They just capitalized it as the black one. Which I know how that sounds, but literally Black Panther, they didn't use Valentine's Day. They basically said, go watch Black Panther. It's the black superhero. So all you black folk, don't you want to act? Oh, was it Black History Month? Okay, so yeah, they used Black History Month to capitalize for Black Panther. So I forgot February is Black History Month. So yeah, they used February for Black History Month to promote the black superhero, which is fine. They utilized societal zeitgeist for Black History Month to promote a movie about a black superhero. That's fine, and it worked, and it fucking worked. Black Panther was Chadwick Boseman was good. The movie itself was good. I didn't think it was amazing, but I did think it was good. I actually do think it was a good movie. That ending fight sequence, though. They did not give the FX artists time to cook on that last fight scene. Yeah, the last fight scene, the FX artists were basically like scrambling up until release day, up until the day of release to fix the CGI. It was bad. But that's what happens when you don't give special effects artists to cook the time that they need. But again, so all three of these movies that he just gave an example to had the benefit of using the month it was released to their advantage. And Eurotrip did not utilize their advertising, like capitalizing on Valentine's Day to promote Eurotrip. Because at its core, while it's a raunchy teen comedy, it was also about a guy finding a girl that he's fallen in love with. And they didn't capitalize on it for the Valentine's Day season.
But this is where things got a lot uglier. Travis Wester, who plays Jamie, shed some light onto what else went wrong.
The P&A department, they wanted to go in sort of a more artsy, serious direction. They wanted to win Oscars. The tragedy of DreamWorks' decision to maybe not support it as much as they could have. This film could have done a lot better with a little bit more oomph.
The writers and co-directors of the film
Wow.
shared their experience as well, stating,
And you're right, it would have
became
been a better
apparent
spring
the
break
studio
movie.
hated it. We're not talking about them not liking this joke or that joke. We're talking about this unfortunate sense that it was beneath them. And when they asked DreamWorks' head of marketing why they even made the movie, she said, I don't know. They even said legendary producer Ivan Reitman abandoned them and tried to turn it into a PG-13 movie, but that they walked in one day to watch the cut, and it really sucked. Releasing in February is one hurdle,
Damn.
but when the studio that made it won't even support it, it's dead on arrival.
That's so many movies, unfortunately, go down this way. The studio interference or the studio apathy regarding a film, that has just killed so many movies that you can see the potential in that. Like with these movies that have bombed and you actually go to see them and they bomb badly, and you watch the movie and it's bad, but you're like, I can see the potential of what they were trying to do, and you can actually feel the studio interference when you're watching these bombs. You can actually almost pinpoint on the script during the movie, yep, they could have gone this route with it, and I guarantee the studio fucked it on this one. Yeah, and it happens so many times.
And it really makes you wonder, how could DreamWorks even do such a thing? Even if the movie ended up being atrocious, I would expect the studio to throw all of its weight behind it, given the fact that they spent the 7th most money of all time to acquire the script. But to think the finished product was actually good and the studio still made this reckless decision is something I'll never understand. And once that happened, the people with the least power in the whole equation were the ones who got buried by it. And the people who paid the price weren't the executives, but instead the young cast, whose careers were tied to this thing working. It's not just as simple as DreamWorks lost $10 million. Boo-hoo. No. The implications of this had an absolutely devastating effect on the careers of many involved. Because for the three young leads, Eurotrip wasn't just some acting gig, it was supposed to be the beginning of a success story. On its surface, despite how things went down at the box office, the idea of getting to go to Europe fresh out of college and shoot a Hollywood film without a care in the world sounds like a dream. And they definitely had a ton of fun doing so.
I loved it. I had a great time. I was living high on the hog. I mean, it was great. And you should definitely go to Prague. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people, there was a lot of people from England there that I saw when I was there. It's an amazing city.
Hung out in Prague and went to these bars and had beer and watched bands. And I get to keep all those memories kind of in these pockets in my mind.
Hell, I remember the first few years after I graduated from college. I traveled across the U.S. following the Michigan football team throughout their golden years, all the way to the national championship. Some of the greatest memories of my life. But for one, they made very little. The only public salary is Jacob Pitts for $100,000, but given he was on screen just as much as Scott, I can't imagine anyone else made much more than $100,000. And I know that's a lot of money.
I actually surmised that Michelle Trachtenberg probably did better. She actually had star power behind her because of her work on Buffy. The three guys were basically unknowns, but Michelle Trachtenberg was coming off the heels of Buffy. My guess is she probably was able to her agent was probably able to get a much better contract for her. I would wager she probably made double what the two guys did. And she did have less screen time. Not by much, but she did have less screen time. But I would wager she probably made more money.
Especially for a young adult, but that's not enough to carry your finances for the rest of your life. Because, well, DreamWorks' decision to essentially tank this film completely killed Scott, Jacob, and Travis's career before they even began. Just look at their filmographies. Literally none of these guys ever got to star in a major studio film ever again.
Yeah.
In fact, Jacob Pitts was the only one who even got to appear in a major studio film ever again. And it was for a minor supporting role in the 2008 film, 21. Judging by their filmographies, Travis seems to have completely phased out of acting, and after almost a decade off, Scott's best case scenario has been booking...
Okay, Travis is not, because I pulled up his filmography. I did pull up Travis Wester's filmography. He's done a lot. He's actually done a reasonable amount of stuff since Eurotrip, but it's all like one episode things. It's a lot of TV. He was another movie called Raising Genius, but he did do a lot of TV. And a lot of it was like one episode. There was one TV show called Ghost Facers. He was in 11 episodes. He was in 5 episodes of Supernatural. For you Supernatural fans, he played Harry Spangler in 5 episodes of Supernatural. So he was in the movie LBJ. So a reasonable amount of TV shows after he did Eurotrip.
Supporting role in a super low budget indie film. But it didn't have to be this way. Literally all 3 of these guys could have been legit movie stars and household names within comedy had DreamWorks put any effort whatsoever into making Eurotrip a success. And the easiest way to see that is to compare them to what happened when movies like this actually succeeded. Because Hollywood has shown time and time again that when one of these comedies hits, it can change an actor's life overnight. Don't believe me?
And by the way, again, becoming a cult classic doesn't help the actor either. So even though Eurotrip has become a cult classic, it still didn't help these actors because, again, Hollywood looks at the box office returns, not at the home release returns. Which even though people loved Eurotrip when it came out on home release, that did not translate into these actors getting work because Hollywood doesn't care about that.
Just look at American Pie and Superbad. American Pie was the first major role for Jason Biggs.
Well, we'll just tell your mother that But we ate it all.
The biggest role yet for Chris Klein, and it was Sean William Scott's first movie ever.
Yes.
Once that movie hit, Jason Biggs immediately started getting major studio films like Loser, Boys and Girls, and Saving Silverman. The same can be said for Chris Klein, who starred in studio films such as Here on Earth, Rollerball, and Just Friends. And yes, maybe these weren't the biggest films, but they were major studio releases, and inevitably
What about
came
Sean
with healthy
William Scott?
paychecks.
He got
Not to
paid
mention all
after
the
that.
sequels American Pie got that Eurotrip missed out on. And then, of course, Sean William Scott took over the genre with Road Trip, Role Models, and Dude, Where's My Car, just to name a few. Literally, the entire ensemble cast saw some form of success following American Pie. That's just how powerful one breakout comedy can be. It doesn't just make money, it creates careers. And you see the same thing with Superbad.
You changed your name to McLovin? What kind of a stupid name is that, Fogel? What, are you trying to be an Irish R&B singer?
Oh, they let you pick any name you want when you get down there.
It was Joe.
Yeah, with Superbad, I think Superbad was able to break out because it hit the zeitgeist. Cause Superbad, I'm trying to remember what year Superbad came out. Hang on. Yeah, Superbad came out in 2007. So it managed to hit the zeitgeist of the whole thing with the teen comedy again. It came out 3 years afterwards, and the superhero thing was still very much going up there. Is Super Troopers a cult classic? Oh yes, absolutely. Super Troopers is a cult classic. Yeah, they managed, Superbad just somehow managed to hit this just like right at the right time, and also the characters were kind of wild. That I think was a big part of it. Is the lead characters, you had him, which was the insane horny guy, and then you had what's his name? Oh God, I can't remember this actor's name. But he was, one thing, Jonah Hill. Thank you. Yeah, like Jonah Hill. I think what made it work is that Jonah Hill acted like he was a sex god, when clearly he's not. Like Jonah Hill is not an attractive person. At least in this movie. Now, you could say he grew into himself and became attractive as he grew older. That's fine. You can make that argument. The reality is, Jonah Hill was not a pretty boy. But he was acting like a sex god in Superbad. And so you had that dichotomy there that I think drew people in. Like, this guy's acting like he's the cat's ass, and then he can bang any bitch that he wants, when he's a fat, ugly throw guy. And then you had Michael Cera, who was like the quintessential dweeb. So I think it was that dichotomy, along with McLovin, where it was a raunchy teen comedy, but it was different enough that it actually got people's attention and got people interested, and it had a good script. It had well-written characters, the actors did a good job, and it just worked. And I think that's why Superbad did so well.
Jonah Hill and Michael Cera's first lead role ever, and Christopher Mintz-Plase's first movie role ever. And following the success, Christopher went on to do Role Models, Kick-Ass, and Neighbors. Michael Cera followed it up with Year One, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. While Jonah Hill had the Sean William Scott career arc and did Funny People, 21 Jump Street, and Wolf of Wall Street. So when you compare that to Eurotrip, it becomes impossible not to see how inevitably different each of these guys' lives would have been if the movie performed at the box office. The only lead who went on to do anything...
Because, look at the characters. Number one, they're all pretty. All of these people are pretty. And for the most part, they played it largely straight. There was comedy, but his character was a little bit quirky, but they kind of played it straight, and they just injected comedy into it, and they injected it well. Whereas Superbad, the characterizations were more over the top. And for whatever reason, when Superbad came out, it worked. It hit. It stuck with people. It managed to tap the zeitgeist of the time and made people really enjoy it.
major afterwards
They were more
was
skilled,
Michelle
yeah.
Trachtenberg, but even her best days were well behind her following Eurotrip, and that modest success no doubt came because she was already well established before Eurotrip, but her story came with the most tragic ending of all, with her dying
was
last year at the
diabetes.
age of
It
39
was diabetes.
due to complications related to diabetes. And I genuinely
Not a liver
can't
transplant,
think
diabetes.
of a celebrity death that has shook me more than Michelle's. I remember reading the news and just sitting in my room in silence for about 30 minutes, and it was on the top of my mind the next couple of days. It also gives me goosebumps to
Okay, it's very sad that Michelle Trachtenberg passed away. Indeed, very sad. But when I read the news, I'm like, oh, that's horrible. I felt bad, but I didn't sit there in silence for 30 fucking minutes thinking, oh my God, Michelle Trachtenberg's dead. Oh my God, she's dead. And then it was like at the top of my mind for days afterwards. Like, seriously, dude? You playing this up for the video or what right now?
think about every time I rewatch the movie or even walk by the poster on my wall. There were a couple of actors in the film who went on to do big things afterwards, like Matt Damon with The Departed and Jeffrey Tambor with The Hangover, but let's be real, Eurotrip had literally nothing to do with their future success. They were already household names. And in one of the strangest twists in the whole story, the writers and directors had the exact opposite outcome. Instead of finding themselves being left with scraps or no career at all, they went on to launch one of HBO's most successful shows of all time in Curb Your Enthusiasm, co-wrote the massive 2012 comedy The Dictator, and worked on several other iconic shows including Veep, Barry, The League, and Silicon Valley. And if that's the fate you get as a writer-director when the movie flops, I can confidently say as a writer-director,
I will say he precipitously left out the fucking Cat in the Hat. When he's got all of these on screens and he deliberately left out for all of them. Oh yeah, they also directed the Cat in the Hat.
other iconic shows including Veep, Barry, The League,
It had good
and
points,
Silicon
but overall
Valley.
wasn't
and
great.
if that's the fate you get as a writer-director when the movie flops, I can confidently say as a writer-director myself that I'm on the right side of the camera. I feel like this is the part where I'm supposed to plug my own work. So yeah, you can check out my directorial debut, Rosetta Stone, which is currently streaming for free on Tubi. Or if you hate ads, you can check it out on Amazon for $1.99. But the frustration doesn't stop there, because the movie was literally destined for success. And we know this because the second audiences actually found out about the movie, it blew up. The only problem was that by the time this happened, it was too late, and the consequences the box office flop had were irreversible. Years after the theatrical mess, audiences en masse found Eurotrip both via DVD and streaming platforms. As the writers and co-directors put it, a cult hit is just one step above a total bomb.
There
it
it
has
is.
to be a total bomb first for that to happen. Sure, we would have liked the giant blockbuster, but at this point, I'll take it. Eurotrip's following has grown so large that when it had its 10th anniversary screening, it had a massive crowd show up, as mentioned by Travis Wester.
Screening for the 10-year anniversary at the ArcLight in Hollywood. Kevin Smith hosted it. You know, people came out and people were like in those Vandersex shirts. People had them. I don't know where they got them.
In other words, the audience was there. It just didn't reach them in time. Hell, the movie's even become such a cult classic that it saved a woman from a coma. No, seriously. Nick Cloutman of Lustra, the band behind Scotty Doesn't Know, outlines one of the most memorable stories we were approached with. There was this girl. She said her friend was in a car with some people to get pizza, and the car got T-boned. This girl was dragged out by the car paramedics and was put on a stretcher and ultimately went into a coma.
Shit.
As she was slipping into this coma, her phone started ringing and she had the Scotty Doesn't Know ringtone. In her dazed state, she started singing along to it. It's become one of the most beloved comedies of the 2000s and has even saved someone from a coma. I think it's time DreamWorks admits its mistake, apologizes for what it did to the careers of those involved, and offers up a sequel as a mea culpa. If you love Eurotrip, you probably missed this style of unfiltered comedy.
We've come all the way from America. That guy in the orange jacket is mentally.
Oh, see, I can tell. Have a very special day for a very special little man.
You probably also feel like it's never coming back. But huge news. It's actually already on its way back, and the Scary Movie 6 trailer proves just this. Marlon Wayans, the writer of the film, even said it's his mission to bring back this exact style of comedy. And there are actually several other comedies just like this being released in the next year. I share all the good news here.
And this is the funny part. This style of movie is going to come back because audiences are desperate for it to come back. They want the raunchy, unapologetic, non-PC, funny shit to come back. That's gross, that's like stereotypical, that's racist, not like a grossly offensive way, but like not like racist in a way where the SJRs are gonna be about it, but everybody else is just gonna laugh and think it's funny. Yeah, so who knows? This style might actually start hitting again. But yeah, Eurotrip, wow.